Hello, welcome. My name is Tracy. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator here in Australia. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today's Tuesday, so it is Case the Catalogue Day, and I have a really great card for us today. It's using the Humming Along bundle in the new Occasions Catalogue. So let's bring that card in really quickly and show you how gorgeous is that hummingbird. So it's a little bit different to what's in the catalogue, so let's bring the catalogue in. On page 36 of the Occasions Catalogue, this is the bundle that we're using here. Comes with some framelits. Oh, they're on this side, sorry. And this is the card that's in the catalogue. Now the difference being, this one is made with Balmy Blue, using the Balmy Blue stamping blends. I actually don't own the Balmy Blue stamping blends, so I've changed it to be Coastal Cabana. Let's go over to the stamp table and we'll get started. The supplies for this card are the Humming Along stamp set and the Hummingbird framelits. These are a bundle. You can purchase these together in the bundle and you save yourself 10%, which is a really great value. We've also got some metallic sequin assortment, and these are really cute because there's lots of different colours there, and we're using the iridescent colour for our card today. Inks that we have are Memento Tuxedo Black Ink and Coastal Cabana. We're using the Old Olive Baker's Twine, which is in the Occasions Catalogue. We're also using some stamping blends, and I have the light in Basic Black, Old Olive, Smoky Slate, Calypso Coral, and I've got the dark in the Pool Party. Also to colour in this card, we're using some watercolour pencils, and I've got Old Olive, Calypso Coral, Bermuda Bay and Basic Grey, so we're going to use those ones as well. And I also have my kit here, which all the measurements and supplies can be found over my blog, and that's in the description of this video. You can also purchase all your Stampin' Up supplies through me if you live in Australia. And I have an online store, and that's in the description of this video as well. If you are placing an order, please use the hostess code for this month and I can send you out a free gift. So what we're going to do is, we have a piece of A4 that's been cut in half and then scored in half. So let's just fold and burnish that card base. Bring that bone folder in and just give that nice crisp edges and pop that to the side. We're also going to work on our watercolour piece, which is our matting there. Now, let's get this started because this is going to take a little bit to dry once we've watercoloured it. So I'm also using an aqua brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place a little bit of water down onto that watercolour paper. And when you're doing a watercolour wash, it is better to place some water down to start with. It just makes that the ink run a little bit better. So I'm going to bring in my Coastal Cabana, and I've already squeezed the lid to put some of that ink into that top of the ink pad. And then I'm going to pick some up, and then I just want to lay it down so it's all over the shot. Using plenty of water because I want it to look watercolory. That didn't make any sense. I want it to look like it's very watercoloured. I'm going to bring my heat tool in because I just want to quickly dry that out, and then I'm going to put another layer on just to get that second layer look there. So I've left it fairly wet on the edges and I'm fine with that. I just want to bring in a little bit more colour towards that middle. Okay, I'm really happy with that. Just going to clean off that aqua brush. You want to make sure you get all the ink out of that nib, and once it comes clear, it's all out. Next thing we're going to work on is our stamping. So we've got a little bit of stamping here. We're going to stamp our hummingbird and then stamping our sentiment on that sentiment piece. So I have those two pieces. One's Whisper White and one is Coastal Cabana. I'm also going to just bring in my mat just so I have good cushioning there. It's a cling stamp, but I just find sometimes it's a little bit better to have that cushioning there. So we're using Tuxedo Memento black ink. So let's ink that all up. And I'm going to stamp that. So stamping that down on that Whisper White piece. Pop that to the side. I'm also using the Memento to do the sentiment. So let's bring that Coastal Cabana piece in. Making sure that's centered and placing that in the middle as best as possible. There we go. That's on a terrible angle, isn't it? Well, let's try that one again. The good thing about our cardstock is there's another side to it. Much better. So let's bring in the hummingbird and we're going to do a little bit of colouring. I'm going to need just a bit of paper underneath because we're going to use the stamping blends first. That is really quite noisy, sorry about that. So we're using the light Coastal Cabana and I'm going to colour in his beak or her beak. Just like that. Then we're going to go with the dark Pool Party and I'm just going to colour in the body there. So we're just laying down a base colour coat sort of thing to start with. And then down his body as well. So simple stamping there. Whoops, there we go. Put the lid back on. The next one we're going to go is the light Old Olive. I'm also going to do these 2 layers of the wings in that green as well. There we go. And then on with the light Smoky Slate. I might use the thicker end just to put that colour down just a little bit more quickly. So I'm not doing anything spectacular here in colouring in, I'm just doing the basic colouring in here. There's nothing special. where the specialness actually comes in is with the watercolour pencils. So it's great that you can use both. If you don't have the colour pencils, or if you don't have the stamping blends, use the watercolour pencils. You don't have to use both. Okay, so just like that. Going to bring in the light basic black, and I just want to add a little bit of colour just down here.
Again.
And while we have this pen out, I'm just going to, actually I'll come back and do that. Okay, so that's the blend colouring in. I'm going to bring this one back again just to do the spots once we've done all our watercolour colouring in. So let's start off. I'm just going to bring in Coastal Cabana, and I just want to add a little bit of highlight in there. And then moving on to the Bermuda Bay. So I'm just going to do just in a little bit. And if you're really good with watercolouring, you're probably cringing at how I'm doing this. I'm not very good at it, but I'm just adding a little bit of colour in. We are going to go over it with the Wink of Stella, so that's going to change it up a little bit as well. But I just want to add a little bit of extra colouring there. And the last one is the basic grey, and I'm just going to add a little bit more colour in each of those. A little bit of noise going on in my house, I'm sorry. Okay. Just going to try and blend out a little bit of that black there. Let's bring in the basic black, and we're going to just pop some dots in along here. Okie dokie. Let's bring in the Wink of Stella, and we're just going to go over the whole bird, just putting some lovely shine on there. And it sort of blends in the watercolour pencils as well. So my not so good colouring actually doesn't look so bad then, because it all just it all just blends really well. And I'm just cleaning the brush each time I change colours, just so I'm not bringing that colour into the next. bring that closer so you can see. I don't know whether it's picking up all that shimmer. Oh, there you go, you can see the shimmer there. How pretty is that? So we're going to bring the big shot in. We're going to cut out the hummingbird, but we're also going to cut out this background from the humming along. So let's bring that in. So we have our hummingbird die, but we also have this one here, which gives this gorgeous background here. This is not quite dry, so I'm going to heat it with the heat tool, and then I'm going to bring the big shot in. Okay, so that one's all completely dry now, and it's come up with some really great colouring there. So let's bring the big shot in. So we'll cut the hummingbird out first, but I want to show you that other die. We have to use the precision plate, and there is a reason why. We've done a lot of work to this one, so I'm going to bring in some washi tape and make sure that sticks down so it doesn't move as I go through and cut out the wrong part. I do it so often that I've learnt to do this every time now. It's just worth that little bit of extra 2-minute job. Okay, so that's not going anywhere. Run that one through. And he comes out beautiful. I'm going to bring in the precision base plate. And placing our watercolour piece, so this is watercolour paper, it's a little bit thicker than normal card, but this die here is also really, really intricate, so we want to make sure that it is cut out properly. So let's bring that in, I think round about there. I'm going to place a cutting plate on top, and I'm going to run that through a few times. This is a really intricate die, so
bad husband, bad husband. Come on, you two.
Okay, so this is a really intricate die, so you are going to have to be careful pulling it out. You just got to use a little bit of patience. But the good thing is if you're patient with it and you're not ripping it out, you do have that negative space that you can use on another card because it's all beautifully watercoloured. I suppose if I'd gotten my die brush out too, that might have helped. But the precision base plate really, really does help, making sure it all gets cut out. There we go. Last little bit. That's it. Oh. Isn't that great? And then you've got this that you can use on another card as well. So that's all we needed the big shot for. We have all our kit here ready to go, so let's just start popping everything down. This one here is using the watercolour paper. So what I want to do is the tear and tape, just to make sure that that stays down even. It does tend to lift watercolour paper, so you need a really strong adhesive to keep that down. And I find this tear and tape is perfect. And do a border all the way around. Okay. Okay, now we can place that straight down onto our card base, making sure it's open the right way. Yep. We'll just place that down so there's a nice even border all the way around. Great. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring that old olive baker's twine in, and I'm going to wrap that around a few times and create a nice bow. So I want the bow to be in the middle there. That's good. Cut those tails off. And this is also going to be popped up onto the card, so let's put some dimensionals down on that. Taking our backings off, we can pop that straight down onto that card base. There we go. Now with the hummingbird, what I actually did was I glued his bottom of his tail down onto the card, onto this sentiment piece, but his body was all popped up. So I'm going to bring in the mini dimensionals, because these are nice and tiny and they fit just perfectly over the hummingbird. Okay, stick some of them down, and then I'll pop a little bit of Tombow Mono glue onto its tail. We can attach it down to the sentiment. We'll take off all those backings first. Struggling with dimensionals today, sorry about that. It's a bit hot here today, so everything's just hot and sticky and attaching to everything. Now bring the Tombow glue in. Bit of glue on that tail. Now when you're placing your hummingbird down, it's going to depend on where your sentiment's been stamped to how it's going to be able to fit on, and where you're, like I could have pulled this back a little bit and been able to move it over a little bit, but I think they both look good. Now the last little thing is I've got the little sequins. Let's bring those in, and we're going to use the Take My Pick tool to pick them up with. So let's try and find some out. So we want those iridescent ones, so I'll grab 2 big ones and 2 or 3 small ones. Let's find some small ones here. And if you haven't used the Take Your Pick tool yet, oh no. Okay, so I've got my little sequins out. I'm going to bring in the fine tip glue pen. I'm going to pop some little dots down. And make sure you place that tip back on straight away. Using the Take My Pick tool, I'm going to pick up all those sequins and just place them down into that glue. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed today's card tutorial. If you have, please give me a thumbs up, and I'd love to hear your comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And all the measurements and supplies can be found over my blog. It's in the link of this video as well. And there's also a link to my online store. If you are placing an order and you're in Australia, please use that hostess code and I'll send you out a free gift. And the last thing I just wanted to quickly say is now is the perfect time to join Stampin' Up. And if you've ever thought about it, the discounts are fantastic. There is a link on in the description of this about joining as well. So check that out if you're interested. All right, until next time, have a wonderful day and I'll see you all soon. Bye.